going to be recording a commentated walkthrough of the first couple hours of the 100% route, going through IST, weapon corruption, all the fun new stuff. So first thing before starting a run is you want to check your system clock is ahead of any of the saves currently on your profile. So these are all in 2040. Just to be safe, I'm going to start in 2041. If you don't do that, then the autosave manipulation that we're going to do may not work the way we want it to. So system clock's ahead of everything on your profile, then you can start a new game. Oh, and when you're actually doing runs, always close the software and reopen it before you start the new game. But I didn't do that here. So I won't be describing how to do every single trick in the run, common stuff like clipping, wind bombs, all that. I can link some tutorials in the YouTube description of this video, but I'll be assuming that you have run Breath of the Wild some category before, and you know all the basic tricks. This is more to get folks up to speed on what's new in the beginning of this route.
Open your eyes.
I will be going over in detail, though, like how to do IST and some of the stuff that's specific to Hundo.
That is a Sheikah slate. Take it. It will help guide you after your long slumber.
So Plateau is different from other categories in a few ways, not many. First of which is when we clip out of Shrine of Resurrection here, we're going to go out to the front to get the cutscene to start time of day, which is necessary for a bunch of stuff throughout the run. And so then the main thing we're going to be doing at the beginning here is creating a very specific autosave with a specific amount of things in our inventory. And then we're going to manipulate the system clock so that that autosave doesn't get erased until we're in Kakariko Village and doing IST. And we're going to use that autosave to perform some of the IST stuff. I'll just describe how to clip out here. As soon as the camera starts moving back here, you want to hold down ZL, and then once it's snapped to this alignment so that you can see the tree branch head, you just want to side hop to the left, and side hop a few times, Link will come out. Then we're going to get 5 tree branches. These are important just to have our inventory in a specific configuration for that autosave that we're setting up. Don't grab anything else. And in general, throughout this first bit before IST, don't grab, that's 5, good. Don't grab things that aren't mentioned in the route, or that could cause some problems. Here, we want to pick up this baked apple, but if we pick it up right now, the old man is going to talk to us, and that takes forever. So just smack the baked apple away from him, pick it up here, and he won't talk to us. As soon as you pick up this apple, very important, make sure you eat it. The reason we want to get this apple and then waste it by eating it right away is we need the food tab here discovered for the autosave that we're going to be protecting. That's so that we can load food into this autosave using IST, and then that's how inventory corruption happens. I'm not going to go into the details of exactly how it works. I can link some videos in the description that talk about that. But yeah, we need this tab discovered. So grab the apple, eat it. We're going to also grab this torch. If you grab it while you're side hopping in the air like this, then the old man won't talk to you. And then grab this axe. Once you grab the axe, you immediately want to unequip it, and then we're going to run towards the Boko camp. Halfway towards the Boko camp here, we're going to get an autosave, if you see in the bottom left corner. That is our autosave that we're going to be using for IST. As soon as you get that, you want to do a hard save. And then, I'm so bad at this. Oh, no, we're okay. Never mind. False alarm. Yeah, the date is still set the way we want it to be. Yeah, so these are the autosaves we want to keep. This one with Link running up the hill, and the Shrine of Resurrection autosave. If you have an extra autosave in between here, like I do, that's fine. You don't need that one. This one and this one are the ones that are important. Okay, so once you get that autosave and hard save, you want to go to the system menu, set the clock backward by a certain amount. You want to set it back by at least the amount of time that it will take you to get to Kakariko Village for IST. When you're starting out, just set it back by a day, and then you can set it forward again later. There's an optimization to this where you don't have to set the clock back, and that uses daylight savings time. That's described in the route doc. I won't go over it here. I don't recommend doing that when you're first learning because it requires that you get to Kakariko fairly quickly, and you won't be able to do that when you're at first learning the route. When you set the date, make sure you click OK. If you don't, it won't actually set it, like if you just move it and then press the home button. Okay, so now we've got these two autosaves, we've got a hard save, and then we've set the clock back. That means these top 4 saves here are going to be protected, and autosaves will only overwrite these bottom 2, which are from whatever you were doing before. Okay. After that, then we can re-equip our weapon, grab a pot lid, and then we're going to grab some food. You can grab that extra mushroom over there too. In fact, I'll just do that for safety. So these peppers and mushrooms that we got are what's called scrap items. We're going to pick up a bunch of scrap items throughout the beginning of this route and use them to break slots for IST. So it's important, and I'll mention whenever one of these items is intended to be used for scrap, but it's important that you keep a minimum amount of them. So for the peppers and the shrooms, you need to keep at least 3 of them. While we're on plateau, we can eat 3 peppers. We can also eat the shrooms because we're going to get more shrooms later, but you need to make sure you start IST with 3 of each of these. Okay. I don't know if that's going to work because I sort of climbed up there weird. It worked. So this is all normal plateau route stuff. We're going to go to the Bombs Shrine. Yeah. And so So then there's only a couple differences in plateau now for the rest of compared to most other categories. One is that we're going to activate the plateau tower. If you've run actually most categories besides any percent, then you've probably already done that before. We can do tower before or after magnesis. I prefer to do it after. And that's just because it makes the BLSS over to the next part a bit easier. But you may prefer to do tower before magnesis because then you don't have to clip into the magnesis shrine. They're both about the same speed though, so do whichever you like. And then the second main difference is we're going to get a Korok, the one on the old man's hut. Right, so I'm not going to have a whole lot to say for the rest of Plateau. We're not getting any more items or anything that really matters other than that Korok. So if you want to fast forward to the end of Plateau, then you can do so. So, since I'm doing Meg first, like I said, the tower, so I have to clip in. But doing tower first is totally fine as well. I'm just going to double check before I go any further. Yeah, this is working as we want it to. So this autosave with us running up the hill and this one going through Shrine of Resurrection are not getting overwritten. Instead, these two on the bottom are getting overwritten. That's good. That's what we want. Okay, don't forget to clear ragdoll if you're clipping in. wind bomb over to the tower. Want to try and get a nice low one. I'm just going to cheat here and get that heart back. I'm playing on homebrew, so I can do that. But yeah, if you needed to eat some food here because that wind bomb goes too high, you totally can. Just make sure you keep at least 3 peppers. And yeah, I'm playing on homebrew right now just so that I can back up to a save at IST if I screw anything up rather than having to redo all this. And I've got some cheats that let me like restore my health and stuff too. But when doing actual runs, of course, that would all be disabled. Hey, Buddha. Okay, we're going to run and jump off the plateau tower here. It's very important to get this cutscene at the bottom of the tower, which, if you've run all dungeons or all shrines or some other categories before, you may know that we can skip this cutscene by wind bombing off the tower. But this cutscene is what triggers a main quest, which is necessary for 100%. And if you finish Plateau without starting that main quest, then your file is just incompletable. It's impossible to start that main quest. This one, the Isolated Plateau. So that's why we have to sit through that weird glitchy cutscene. Okay, then we're going to BLSS over to the old man's hut, get that Korok, and then after that the plateau route is going to be exactly the same as any other category. Oh, I missed the ramp up. Make sure you blow up that bomb behind you, or you'll be sad when you try to do this one bomb. Okay. Thought Korok Siege would mess. I can't talk. Hey, Ozzy Gotham. Korok Seeds would mess with IST. That was true in the previous route. However, since we now get invalid or star invalid tab, that's what it's called, something like that. The weird cursor glitch. Since we now get that at the beginning of the IST segment, we actually use that to toss away the Korok seeds that we're gathering during the early parts of the route, which is one way that this route saves time, because we can get some of these early Korok seeds instead of having to come back to them without it screwing up IST. So I will go over how to do that, of course, when we get to the IST segment. But yeah, for anyone who doesn't know why Korok seeds would mess with IST, every time you reload with broken slots, that's going to essentially duplicate items starting from the end of your inventory, so starting from the key items. The Paraglider and the Sheikah Slate are special. They don't get duplicated, but if you have Korok seeds, they're going to get duplicated over and over and over, and they'll make it so that it's like impossible to turn it in later, or turn them in later to Hestu, and that would not be good. But fortunately, we have a way around that now. Come back. Dang it. Oh my god. Seriously? Ah! Screw it. We'll just use the square bomb. Ugh. If we can manage to do so. There we go. I hope I don't just die here. Okay. So as I said before, we can eat up to 3 of those peppers. Oh shoot, I just took another tick of damage. And you can also eat the shrooms. So I'll just heal one more bit so that I can wind bomb in here. Okay, almost done. On to the more interesting stuff. Oh my god. I'm having some trouble with this. There we go. Okay, here we are. We're done plateau.
That princess was my own daughter.
One more cutscene. So, first thing we're going to do after plateau is go get a bunch more scrap items and other items that we need to duplicate for the run. And the best place to do all that is Mount Satori. So we're going to BLSS straight to a particular spot on Mount Satori. There's a bunch of spots you can BLSS from here. I like to use this corner, so I'll describe my setup real briefly. So holding the bow, you want to kind of walk into the side so that the bomb is inside the wall here. Aim a bit left of the tower, and then hold forward and press B, and that'll let Link step up there. Sometimes you'll get a bit more forward momentum, but if not, that's okay. You can just kind of glide until you have enough room to wiggle. Okay, so we're heading to this clump of trees kind of on the left lower side of Satori Mountain. What made people derive a new IST setup? Just always trying to optimize, find faster ways to do things. Basically. Okay, so you want to land... Whoops. You want to land a little more cleanly than that, but land right here in this corner. So then you want to pick up some Hylian shrooms. Make sure you have at least 3 of them. You can grab more over there if you need to. We're going to grab some sun shrooms. Excuse me. Endura shrooms. The Endura shrooms are not scrap. You can eat one of them. In fact, I'm going to eat one now. But keep the other one. Sun shrooms you need at least 3 of, so here's the 3rd one. And then razor shrooms. There's one actually like inside the log that you can't see, but you can pick it up. And there's one to the side here. And then you can grab a few more sun shrooms. You need to keep both razor shrooms, so don't eat those. So we can eat these down to 3, these down to 3. Then we're going to wind bomb over to the west here. Missed the super launch. Over to this tree with 2 honeys. You only need one of the honeys, so just bomb it down. Don't eat it. We're going to duplicate that later. We're going to get these 2 bird eggs. Don't eat them. They will both be used later. We're going to get 7 lotus seeds. 1, 2, 3. There's 8 here in total, so you're getting all but 1. That's 7. Make sure I eat so I don't die. Grab this mushroom, don't eat that. Grab the acorn, don't eat that. And grab the forest dweller's bow out of this treasure chest. At this point, inventory should look like this, with all these picked up in this order. Yeah, something like that. The scrap items, these first 3, you can have different numbers of them as long as you have at least 3 of each. Okay, then we're going to wind bomb over to the durians here. And once you get these durians, then food is a lot less of a concern because you'll be able to eat those for health. Whoops, I ended up a bit low here. Ideally, you'd land up a little further up here. So you need to get at least 8 durians. When you're starting out, I would recommend probably getting all 10 up here. And you need at least 2 pieces of wood. If you get more wood, that's fine, it doesn't matter. But you need 2 pieces. Oh, there's another durian tree here. I'll get the extra durians just for safety, but you only need to get the 8, like I said. So one of those you're going to eat right away, because you'll probably have very little health at this point. And we're going to do 2 more wind bombs before the end of the split, so eating a durian at that point means that we don't need to eat again before we get our health refilled by the monk. Okay, there's a few different setups for completing this shrine. I prefer to do the backflip wind bomb off of the peg here. It's not the fastest setup, but it gives you a nice, reliable angle. Alright, next segment is grabbing a bunch of materials inside Hyrule Castle, and some Koroks as well, and we'll be ending it with getting the Hylian shield from the Stelnox. So we'll grab this Korok right off the bat, and then we're going to BLSS to the castle gate to the, I think it's the guards chambers. Pretty sure that's what that's called. So that's the same gate that any percent uses, which you need to get unloaded. Where does this guide go up until? It'll go up until we create the OmeGEB, or the OmeGEB. I won't be commentating an entire 100% run. That's too much talking. So if you don't get the gate unloaded here, there's a couple backups. You can ESC through, or you can go around to the right side. There's an open gate and just run through that way. I will hopefully not have to show that off, but that is doable as a backup. Oh no, I think it's already loaded, hasn't it? Or maybe I'm seeing things. Oh no, looks like we're fine. Okay, so get in this gate before it loads. It's usually pretty consistent coming from Satori Mountain. And once you land here, you want to use the time. You'll probably not have the castle cutscene happen right away. If it does, that's fine. You'll just drop these anyway. But use this time to drop your Traveler's Bow and all of the weapons besides your torch. After Val so yeah, 2 hours, and it'll probably take me like 3 because I'm, going slow and explaining things. So then we'll get the castle cutscene. Alright. We want to glide over here to this pole and climb up. And we're getting the Falcon Bow and this treasure chest that has bomb arrows. Then we're going to grab the Royal Guard's Claymore and the Royal Claymore, similar to how any percent does it. Sneak strike this guy. Avoid those guys. You can try to distract them with a bomb. You want the Nadra Fang from that treasure chest. And then we're going to switch to Forest Dweller Bow, Bomb Arrow, get some Koroks here. Or some Koroks. Get one Korok. One Korok and a treasure chest behind this bombable wall. Treasure chest has some ancient arrows. Okay. And then we're going to distract this guy with a bomb and sneak strike him. Just how any percent does it, except we're not taking his weapon. We actually want the monster parts. We're going to be duplicating these later, and the Lizalfos parts are needed for upgrades at the end of the run. The order you pick up these parts doesn't matter, so don't worry about that. If you have like tail first and then these, that's fine. But you need the 2 talons, the tail, and the horn. Same with the durian and wood. Doesn't matter the order you pick up these two. But in general, the rest of the order should be the same. Okay, light this cook pot, and we're going to cook some things. Cook an Endurance room. If you still have both, cook them both in the same meal. So you want to have just one Endura. Alternatively, if you want, you can cook two and then use one of them to make the Stelnox fight easier by regaining some stamina in the middle of your spin. Shouldn't be necessary though, but just make sure you have exactly one Endura meal when you're starting IST. Then we're going to cook some speed food for the next little bit. 4 seeds and an egg. And then cook 4 or 5 durians. I'm just going to cook 4. And then eat those right away. So this is going to let us run through castle faster, and this is also going to make sure we have enough health to get to IST. After IST, you'll have 999 fairies, so you won't be able to die, and you don't have to worry about health. Okay, then we're going all the way down to the end of this corridor, jumping down here to a room that has... so I'm bombing that room, and then I'm bombing this lever here to start the updraft outside. Inside this room is a treasure chest with a Dinral's Fang. Don't get smacked by that guy. And then we're going to use this updraft to grab the Korok on the ledge here. Okay, continue down this hallway. We're going to make a detour to the left here. If you run into those bomb arrows, you can just use normal bombs, of course. And we're going to do this egg Korok. Use your remaining egg. Oops. And then we're going to go back up the way we came. If you accidentally eat or use or break your egg, there's another egg over there that you can grab. Okay, back through here, turning left, we're going to go to Lockup. There's a crate here and a bombable wall. The crate always drops a pack of 5 arrows. Sometimes it goes in different places, but you want to grab that. Then we shoot this eye, and I would recommend killing this Lizalfos here. You can just use an Ancient Arrow. It's not strictly necessary to kill him, but he can mess with you while you're trying to fight the Stelnox, and that can be bad. Okay, in the Stelnox room, you want to switch to Royal Guard's Claymore and normal arrows. Don't shoot him with Ancient Arrows, we need those for Guardians. So just normal arrows. And then what I'm going to do is, as soon as he puts his head on, I'm going to shoot him in the eye. That's going to pop the eye out. I'm going to shoot him in the eye. That's going to make him sit down. I'm going to spin to win, try to get double hits. That should take away most of his health. Then I'm going to make sure that I don't lose all my stamina. Shoot him in the eye again, and then you can finish him off by throwing the Royal Guard's Claymore. So hopefully I will now do exactly that. Okay, shoot him in the eye. Spin to win, face away from him so you get double hits. Don't use all your stamina. Should have most of his health down. Shoot him in the eye again. This time it'll pop out. Then you can smack it and kill him. Okay, that gives us the Hylian Shield, and that's the end of this segment. Now, to leave the castle, just go to your map, press X, and choose Leave this area, and that'll warp us to the front of castle, where we're going to kill a stalker for some Guardian parts. So the parts we need from the Guardian, at a minimum, are just a spring and a shaft. Don't get more than one of each. You want exactly one spring, exactly one shaft. Ideally, you'll get 3 screws. But if you don't, then any number of screws is fine, or 0. And then if the Guardian happens to drop a core as well, take that, that's lucky. But if it doesn't drop a core, we'll get one in the next shrine that's coming up. I like to get rid of my pot lid here while this guy's loading in. You do need to get rid of that pot lid at some point before IST starts. So this is a convenient time to do so. And that guy's loaded in, so we're going to shoot him with the Ancient Arrow. You can kill one of his legs as well while he's dying to get a few extra parts. There's a spring and a screw. Doesn't matter what order you pick up these Guardian parts in. Okay, so we got spring, screw, shaft, and let's grab 2 more screws. Perfect. That's all we need. We didn't get the core, but that's fine. And yeah, the order of these 3 doesn't matter, as long as you get all of them. And again, screws are optional. From there, if you don't get the required parts, I would recommend just wind bomb or run over here. And there's this stalker right here. You can kill him for another shot at some more parts. If that doesn't work, you'll be out of Ancient Arrows, so you'll just have to reload to try again. But usually you'll get the parts after just one of them. Okay, so from here we're going to BLSS over to the guy near Kaiwan. And there's some fish there, and we'll do his quest as well. So for this BLSS, to get a good angle to the guy, there's this sort of square-looking big plateauy rock here, and you want to just squeeze by the left side of it, just like this. That'll send you over that hill and straight here to this guy. It'll take a few seconds for the 4 green fish to spawn in. Once they spawn in, bomb them and take them. You need all 4 fish. During IST, we're going to be doubling some of our slots. We're going to double the fish slot twice, so you'll end up with 16 fish. You need 15 for upgrades. So that means if you miss a fish, you're only going to end up with 12. That's fine. I wouldn't reload if that happens, because you can get 3 extra fish pretty easily somewhere else in the run. Sargon Bridge, or there's a apple offering Korok under the Kakariko Cliff on, like, I think it's the south side of it. So you can just grab some extra fish if that happens. Sometimes you'll miss a fish and it'll swim away, and that sucks, but try to get all 4. And then we're just gonna do this guy's quest. This is gonna give you a sword. We don't want that sword, it will mess with IST, so immediately drop it. Okay. Then we're just gonna go do the shrine. Oops. So the thing to be aware of in this shrine is we are getting the ancient core from a treasure chest in the water. If you got that core from the stalker, then of course skip it. Another thing to note, you can, if you miss a spring from the stalker, instead of reloading, you could keep going and hope that this guy drops a spring, but that is also RNG, so not guaranteed. You could also get a spring from one of these guys. Alright, so then we're going to be getting another couple shrines here. This one, we also want to get the Gaponga village ruins location along the way. And we can do that just by BLSSing a bit to the left of the shrine. So you can see the shrine in the distance. You want to aim a bit left of it. The location trigger extends out to kind of the end of this wooden bridge here. So I'm actually a little further left than I need to be. But only a little. Yeah, ideally I'd be a bit closer to the shrine and still get the location. But that's fine. One other thing that's worth mentioning, if you make a bunch of mistakes and are running out of health, or say you get hit by the Stalnox and like lose all those yellow hearts, you don't necessarily have to reload. You can eat your durians. Oh, actually, that's something I kind of forgot to mention. The durians are also scrap items. So what that means is, of these durians, you need to keep at least 3 of them. So we cooked a bunch. I've got some extra that I could eat. But in an emergency, you could eat all of them. And if you do that, then there's some apples in front of Impa's house in Kakariko. And you would just substitute apples for the durians when you're doing the IST. So you'd grab 3 of those instead. Okay. I think that's... yeah, I think that's good for now. Okay. On to the next shrine, Taloneg. Gonna do a few wind bombs to get up here. Whoops. Don't fall off. Okay. Do it better than this. Okay, and in this shrine, there is a chest with an opal. So you want to make sure to grab that. Your ragdoll here. If you're running out of health, you can just trip over your shield, of course, to clear ragdoll. Okay, IST segment is starting next, but before we can get into the actual IST, we've just got a few more materials to collect. So we're going to wind bomb over to the west. There's a fairy fountain. We need to get 2 fairies, 2 nightshades, 1 carrot, and 2 silent princess. That is our shopping list. So drop down on this ferry here, and then make sure you can grab one of the others. So that's 2 fairies, 2 nightshades. A bean, thank you. 1 carrot right there, and 2 silent princesses. Then we're going to go talk to Impa to start some of the main quest line.
So, you're finally awake. It has been quite a long time, Link. I am much older now, but you remember me, don't you? Huh? Oh! Oh. 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 Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
I do think it's faster.
Oh.
I don't have enough hard data yet to back that up, but I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, we've talked to Impa. We have 1 more material to collect, and then we're ready for IST. So run over to this tree. If you get here past 7 a.m., you'll have to sleep either morning or night so that this beetle spawns. Do I plan on making saves? Yeah, I have some already that I guess I could release. Let me know if you want those. Otherwise, I was planning to go through the route again at some point and make like some better ones, because the saves I have are on like an older version of the route that we were testing. Oh yeah, sure, if you want to make some, that would be cool. Okay, anyway, so grab the beetle and then we're ready to start IST. So before we start, I'm just going to go over the inventory again. Yep, Edison works. I use JKFSV, but same thing. Or it does the same thing. Okay, so overview of all the stuff you need. 3 of each of these first 3. If you have extra, that's fine, but you need at least 3. 2 of these. At least 3 durians. Here I've got 5. That's fine. All the rest of these, yeah, so the honey you would just have 1 of. Fleet Lotus seeds you need at least 3. Or you should have exactly 3. Mushroom and acorn, 1 each. Naderfang, here's your Lizalfos parts. The order of these, 3 doesn't matter. Then another Fang. The order of these 3 Guardian parts doesn't matter. Or the core can be with them also if you happen to get the core first. You should have 4 fish. You should have an opal, 2 fairies, 2 nightshade, 1 carrot, 2 silent princess, and the beetle we just got. In your food tab, you should only have this stamina meal. If you have anything else, go ahead and eat it right now. And then 8 spirit orbs and 5 Korok seeds. The Korok seeds will interfere with the IST, so we'll be getting rid of those, and I'll show you how to do that in a sec. Okay, here we go. So I will explain how to do all this as best I can. I may not explain exactly how it all works, but I can link some videos in the description if you're more interested in that. So first we're just going to, oh, whoops, we're not going to sell yet. We're just going to start her quest. Okay, and then we're going to start with the actual IST. Now I've got my running notes here that I'm going to use. The actual notes in the route doc are a little more verbose. I just have kind of a smaller shorthand for while I'm running, but I'm going to describe everything in detail here anyway. So if you want to follow along with the one in the route doc, that's probably good. Okay. So first thing we need to do is smuggle our weapon. I guess before we talk about that, I'll just say we're doing 3 rounds of breaking slots, and each round of breaking slots is going to break 4 slots. And what a broken slot is once you have, so for example, 4 broken slots, then whenever you reload, the last 4 items in your inventory will get duplicated. Now, Paraglider and Chica Slate are actually special. They don't get duplicated, but it would duplicate these 2. We're going to make 12 broken slots. So that would duplicate these 4 items, this one, and then, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now I'm actually going to use some of these items to break the slot, so it's not going to duplicate these exact items, but that's how it would work, counting back from the end of the inventory. Okay, so to break slots, here's how it works. You need to smuggle your weapon. To weapon smuggle, you want to take out the weapon. Well, actually, no. First thing you want to do is put a square bomb on the ground in front of you. Then take out your weapon. It doesn't matter which weapon you smuggle, because once it's smuggled, it will stay smuggled once you switch. So the only kind of timing dependent inputs are right here. You're going to press B and D-pad left really fast together, like this. B, D-pad left. So you should catch Link like partially through putting his weapon away. Then you're going to unequip your shield, and it'll look like that. And then you just pick up the bomb and throw it. Now my weapon is smuggled. What that means is I can like do a bunch of actions and he doesn't put the weapon away. I'm pressing B right now, he's not putting the weapon away. Once your weapon is smuggled, you want to hold some items. So 4 of the items we hold are going to break slots, and then 1 of the items, which is a single item, is going to be what we call our check item. I'll describe what that means in a minute. So for the first round, we're going to hold razor trim, wood, spring. Spring is our check item because we have only 1 of it. When we hold, then it says ×0. Nightshade, Silent Princess. Okay, I'm holding those, and I've also got this weapon out in front of me. Then you want to equip your shield, and holding ZL, equip a one-handed weapon. That's going to be your torch. So if you did all that right, Link should look like this, with his shield held in front of him and the torch sticking out like that. Now if I release ZL, he's going to put everything away. My weapon's still smuggled though, so that's okay. So I'm going to hold those items again. So again, it's equipped shield, and then cycle from a different weapon to a one-handed weapon. And he looks like that. When you look like that, now I'm holding ZL this whole time, where he'll put everything away. you want to jump, release ZL, and then start buffering with the D-pad left menu. So jump, release, and then buffer, and then keep buffering until you see there. He's putting his shield away, and then unequip the shield. That didn't work. What did I do wrong? There we go. Buffer until he's putting away the shield. I might have done it too late. Oh, maybe that was right. You know what? Yes, I think that was right. Because he's... No, that's not right. What am I doing wrong? Oh, it's because I had stopped holding the items somehow, I think. At some point, this became such muscle memory that I kind of forgot how it works. So let's start from the top. Weapon smuggle. Hold the items. Equip shield. Re-equip torch so that it's like that. Then jump, release, buffer, unequip shield. There we go. That's how it should look. So Link should be walking around now with all 5 of those items stuck to his hand. And not holding them like in both arms. So now he's got the weapon and the items stuck to his hand. I'll be doing this several times, so we'll go through it again. Then comes the hardest part. Target this lady with ZL, so that orange arrow is above her. And these inputs are easy to fail. I don't always get them 100% of the time. But you want to press the bow buttons ZR and A almost together at the same time, but A comes after ZR. So ZRA, if you know how to super launch, it's about with that timing. So you want to press A like the frame after ZR. So something like that. I think I actually pressed A too late here, but that's the purpose of our check item, is to tell us whether we did this right. So you're going to ask to sell. And if you did it right, you should see the check item grayed out. That was our spring. We don't see the check item grayed out. So that means you were too late with your A press. You pressed ZR into A too slowly, which I kind of thought I did. So if that happens, just back out of the menu and set it up again. You'll have to pick these back up. So, smuggle a weapon, B and D-pad, unequip, pick up the bomb and throw it. Spring's at the end of the menu now, but hold those 5 items. It doesn't matter what order you hold them in. Yep, good point, Methinker. You can also press D-pad down and A with the same timing. Some people find that easier, so you can experiment with that, see if you like that better. I like ZR and A, but either way. Okay, so hold the 5 items, holding ZL, re-equip your shield, equip the torch, shield is out in front, torch ahead of it, jump, release ZL, buffer until he's putting the shield away, and unequip. And it didn't work. What am I doing wrong when I do that? There, okay, it worked that time. I'm not sure exactly what I did wrong there, but there it is. He's walking around with the item stuck to his hand. So we're going to try this again. Target her, and ZR and A really quick together. Hey. That felt better. Go to the cell menu. There we go. We see the spring there is grayed out. That means when you sell the other items now, this is going to work, and you're going to end up with broken slots. So sell the items, the other items that you were holding. So that's the Nightshade, the Princess, the Razor Shrimp, and the Wood. So how this works briefly, when you sell the items, the game is going to subtract that slot from your inventory because it's the last item, right? You went to 0. But then you're also kind of holding the items. So when you drop them, the game is going to subtract them a second time. And that's where the bug is in the inventory system. Since the item slots get subtracted twice, the game then thinks you have a different number of items than you really do. We call those broken slots, and that's the basis for this whole IST glitch, which we can use to do a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so after those are sold, exit out of the menu, those will pop out. Pick up the whole pile. We need all these. We don't want the razor shroom anymore, so you can just eat that. Okay, it's kind of like memory corruption. There's some memory corruption aspects to part of the IST that we'll be doing later. Okay, so now we're just going to do that 2 more times. We're going to use the same. We're going to use different scraps for the next 2. So you want to create a pile in the corner with 1 pepper, 1 shroom, 1 sun shroom, 1 hardy durian. We're going to pick that pile up later. We're just saving it there for now. Then smuggle your weapon again. So B, D-pad left really quick, unequip the shield, pick up the bomb, throw it. And then we're going to use these same 4 items, pepper, shroom, sun shroom, durian, as our scrap, and use the honey as a check item. The reason it matters what specific item we use as the check item is because we're going to drop it afterwards, and that's going to put the honey in the back of our inventory, which is just where we want it for our inventory order for duping afterwards. Okay, so grab the honey as the check item, equip the shield, re-equip the torch, jump, jump, I described it later. Now I'm moving faster than my mouth does. Okay, so we're targeting her. ZR&A really fast.
Yeah.
There we go. That worked. The honey is grayed out, so that means we sell the other items that we were holding. Yeah, exactly, Bean. I'll talk about that more when we get to that point. But that is exactly what's happening.
Oh.
Okay, sell those 4 items. And then they're all going to bounce out of our hand. Now we want to pick up everything. So this pile on the ground here, and this pile here. That leaves us with these 4 items, which we're going to use as scrap again. We've got 2 of each. And the honey, which we're going to leave alone. So now we're going to do this one more time. Smuggle. Hold those. And for our check item, we're going to use the blue nightshade. Re-equip the shield. Re-equip the torch. Holding ZL the whole time, so that Link looks like this. Then jump, release ZL, buffer until he's putting the shield away, unequip. There we go. Talk to her, ZRA really fast. And that worked because we see the blue nightshade is here. So, like I said before, if you're too late with the A press, then you won't see the blue nightshade at all in the inventory. If you press it too fast, so like you press that R and A at exactly the same time, usually what'll happen is Link will just drop the items. Or sometimes you might see... No, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just what happens, is Link will just drop the items. So then you'll have to redo the setup. Okay, we're selling these 4.
Oh. Ma. Oh. Oh.
Good. Now this pile we're just going to leave on the ground here. We don't need any of those. So, We now have 12 broken slots. We're going to leave the shop, and we're going to start cycling some things. No, I won't be starting a run after this. So I call this cycling in my notes. I think in the other notes it just says drop and pick up. But basically, cycling is dropping an item and then picking it right back up again. And that's going to put it in the back of your inventory. So first, and we can do these together so it doesn't matter what order you pick them up in. We're going to do rush room, 3 screws, and the carrot. So just drop those on the ground, pick them back up. Then we're going to do our lotus seeds and the 2 dragon fangs. Drop them, pick them back up. And this is just reordering our inventory so that everything's in the right order. The 4 fish. Yeah, make sure you don't pick them up till all of the same item is out of your inventory. So I'll show you, for example, with the talon, if you only drop one of them and then pick it back up, it's still in the same spot, right? So you want to make sure you're dropping them all at once. Good. Inventory should look like this. Now, we're going to hard save, and we're going to get this weird cursor glitch. So, hard save, and then you're going to load the Shrine of Resurrection autosave that you have from the beginning. Shaft? Did I do something wrong? Oh my goodness. Thank you, Sean. I did something wrong. I should have cycled the shaft, not the tail. Ooh. That's awkward. Okay, I will go ahead and fix this, but it's going to take a minute, because I'm going to have to, like, drop everything and pick it all back up in the right order. So we're going to cut this sequence out of the final footage here, because this is going to take a second to fix. Okay, and then we would do Talon Horn Shaft. There we go. Okay, inventory is fixed. Thank you, Sean. This is what it should look like. And so now we're going to save. And load the Shrine of Resurrection autosave, which, as I described at the beginning of the run, we need this save and this save to be protected at this point. So, loading into Shrine of Resurrection, we're going to get a glitch called Invalid Star Tab. And this is the glitch that's going to let us do funny things like holding Koroks, eating our Sheikah Slate, holding roasted meals, that kind of thing. So, the inputs to do this aren't too hard. Pause, L to go to your inventory, and then hold the R stick until you see the inventory tabs move over, like that. Then just do that 2 more times. Unpause, pause, go over to the inventory, hold R stick, stop holding. See, it cycled through the menu a couple times there. Unpause, pause, hold R stick right. Now we should be good. Here's how to check if you have the glitch. Go to your load saves, and when you hit A, you'll have no cursor. Now don't panic. The cursor actually exists, it's just off screen to the left. So to get your cursor back, just press D-pad right, or left stick right. There we go. So moving the cursor to the right gives us that cursor back. If at this point you don't have the cursor missing, just unpause and try it again. Do those same inputs and you should eventually get it. Okay, now we're going to load the hard save. That's back in Kakariko Village. Now, loading this hard save actually duplicated a bunch of our items, because whenever you load with broken slots, that's what happens. So now at this point, you can see we've got a bunch of extra materials, right? See how these dragon fangs are duplicated over here, same with some of the other stuff. We've got 2 stamina meals, and we've got some extra spirit orbs and some extra Korok seed slots. Now, if we were to keep going, we would end up with so many extra Korok seed slots that basically we wouldn't have enough broken slots to reach the rest of this. And also, we wouldn't be able to get rid of them because Hestu doesn't like to accept Korok seeds from like different slots at the same time. So we're going to drop these Korok seeds. First thing you need to do here, very important, sort your key items. Press Y right here, and it's going to sort them. Reason is we need the Korok seeds to be in this top right slot over here. Then we're going to do a very specific set of inputs that's going to let us hold them. So here's what we do. We go to the second materials page and go to this particular slot. That's row 2, column 5. And then you're going to go right stick to the left, D-pad up, right stick to the right, D-pad left. These inputs are drawn out nicely in the linked instructions in the route doc. More nicely than in my running notes that you can see on the screen here. Now, if I just do those inputs slowly, nothing unusual is gonna happen. Here's them slowly. Right? That looks like it normally should. You want to go fast, but not too fast. If you do too fast, this also won't work. So you want to do a rhythm kind of like bop, 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 bop. Now you can see the cursor's off the screen. That's what you want. You want it to be off the screen to the left. I'm going to show you that again. To reset this, you can just unpause and pause. So we go here. This is, I'll show you what it looks like if you do it too fast. If I go like bop, 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 then my cursor doesn't end up off screen. So just align the cursor to the same place again. Go bop, 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 bop. And your cursor's off screen. That's the first part of this. You want to pause for like a sec, or not pause, wait for like a second after doing this. Then go R stick to the right. So that's to tab over. And now you can see the cursor's over Link's shoulder. If the cursor's over Link's shoulder, then you're good. You can press X to go into hold mode, and then press A 5 times to hold the Korok seeds. This is what Korok seeds look like in the overworld. I don't know why. So you hold them, unpause, place them on the ground. There you go. There's 5 Korok seeds. Now we're going to do that again. You can see the Korok seeds are gone, but we've got the second slot of Korok seeds. Yeah, they use the palm fruit 3D model, which is kind of weird. So we're going to do that exact same thing again. Hey Spider, thanks for the raid. Okay, so we're going to go right stick left, D-pad up, right stick right, D-pad left. And in this rhythm, bop, 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 bop. Then tab to the right, press X, hold them, drop them. There we go. We've successfully gotten rid of our Korok seeds. So now you want to walk away from them a bit, or like you'll accidentally try to pick them up during this next cycling. And then we're just going to cycle from the, You'll be short Koroks at the end. Not a problem, because you don't actually need all 900 Koroks to upgrade your inventory slots. And the requirements of 100% just say that you have to get all the Koroks from their source, which we have done. And we have to upgrade all of our slots, which you only need like 450 or so. I can't remember exactly. You don't need all 900 to upgrade. So it's fine. Okay, so now we're going to, whenever it says to cycle or to drop and pick up items, it always means from the first available slot, unless it says otherwise. So, horn, talon, shaft, we're going to put those on the ground. And then also the fish. And then since we have a second slot with those items, when we pick them up, it's just going to combine them with that slot. So now we have 8 fish. We've essentially doubled our fish. Yep, Hestu still gives you the golden poop. Hestu only cares that you have gotten the Korok seed. He just knows somehow. You'll be able to see in the loading screen how many Korok seeds you've obtained, and that isn't affected by dropping them. And then we've also doubled all of these. So now we save. Now I have no cursor, so D-pad right to get my cursor back. And at this point, we're actually going to get a 13th broken slot. There's another method of breaking slots that doesn't involve selling and can only be done with fairies. So at this point, you should have less than 3 hearts. If you have a full 3 hearts, make sure you go over to the fire and just stand in it until it like damages you a little bit. Because otherwise, so we're going to bomb ourselves while holding a fairy, and we need the bomb to kill Link so that it triggers the fairy. A bomb won't kill Link if he's at full 3 hearts, so that's why you need to do that. You could do that bean, but we don't because it's not needed. Okay, so hold a fairy and then jump. For some reason you can't drop a bomb while you're holding an item, but you can if you switch bombs in the middle of your jump. This isn't like, sometimes you can and sometimes you can't, but it always works if you switch bombs. So jump, switch bombs, and double tap L to blow it up. That broke a 13th slot. How that works is because like we're holding the fairy and we use the fairy. It's similar to the selling thing where it subtracts it from our inventory twice. And then we're going to reload that hard save that we just made. Because we saved before using those fairies, we're going to get the fairies back, so don't worry about that. Okay, here we go. You can see we have our fairies back, and we've also duplicated more items. So we're going to do some more cycling of these items just to combine the slots. So do 8 fish and our 2 horns. One important thing to mention here is, while you're cycling, never allow more than 10 items to be on the ground at the same time. As soon as you drop an 11th item, the first one will despawn. And if you keep dropping them, they'll keep despawning. So make sure you're only putting 10 items on the ground and picking them up, at most 10. Okay, then we're going to hold all of these fangs and a lotus, and then the rest of these lotuses. That's 10 items. Pick them all up. See, now they're recombined. We've got 3 of each fang, 9 lotuses. And then we're going to do the same with the shaft and talons. And then just save and reload. Make sure you're reloading the hard save there. This is maybe going to take longer than 3 hours. I'm going through it kind of slowly, but that's okay. Okay. More cycling. Horns. Shafts. And these 8 talons. Good. Inventory should look like this. We should have 8 stamina foods, and we've got a whole bunch of spirit orbs. Yes, this will be up to WMC. So we're going to go turn in all those spirit orbs. Get a full complement of stamina first. So redeem 10 staminas, and then just redeem hearts until you run out of spirit orbs. You'll end up with 9 total hearts, so 6 heart upgrades. Okay, so we've turned in all of our spirit orbs, so at this point your key items should just be the slate and the paraglider. Now we need to check our weapon, bows, and shields. These need to be very precisely the way I show you, or the next bit corrupting our inventory will fail. So, if you still have the sword from before, make sure you drop it now. And if you still have your pot lid, make sure you drop it now. You need to not have those in your inventory. You're going to equip the claymore, forest dweller bow, which you probably already have equipped, but if not, equip that. Bomb arrows, doesn't matter if you have 0 of them, just make sure that slot is equipped. And your shield. So it should look exactly like this. Arrow count doesn't matter, but otherwise should look exactly like this. He's still around, I've seen him in a couple chats. Then we're going to save, and we're going to load that plateau autosave, the one with us running up to the Boko camp. We're going to be loading this autosave several times, and each time we're going to eat a different amount of food, and that's going to cause inventory corruption. I'm not going to explain how, because although I mostly understand it, it's too complex for me to be able to explain without a big pile of diagrams. I will link a video in the YouTube description that does explain how all that works. Okay, so when we load in here, you're going to find that it's hard to move around the inventory because your cursor is over on that star. To get your cursor back, go to the Meals tab and just press D-pad down a bunch until you can do stuff, and then eat 3 foods. 1, 2, 3. And then load your hard save. Hey, Squirt. Okay, now this is important. Do not do anything else here, but immediately pause. Don't unpause. Don't press any D-pads. Immediately pause and save. And then reload the hard save. If you press the D-pad, if you unpause, if you do most other things, the corruption will fail. Now that you've done that, you can unpause and pause as much as you like. If you go to your materials tab, you should see that you have 999 ancient cores. We're going to use that for money, but we're going to keep 5 of them for use in other stuff in the run. Name of the streamer I rated yesterday. Yeah, I'll just put the name in chat real quick. There you go. Okay, so we go to
Hey.
her. Oh, wait, no, sorry, don't talk to her right away. Drop 5 cores on the ground,
Yeah.
and then sell the rest. That's going to give you all your rupees for the run. Then pick those 5 up, because we need 5 of them for stuff. And equip your falcon bow. You can do that via the D-pad or just from going over here, but make sure your falcon bow is equipped. Notice also you have more arrows than you had before, just a few more. And then we're going to save and load that plateau autosave again. When you load the plateau autosave, make sure it is that one with Link running up the hill. If you have an autosave between that and the Shrine of Resurrection, you don't want to load the other one. Okay, so we've loaded this. Now you actually, for this one, want to quickly run over to the camp and grab one of these spears so that you have a full 8 weapons in your inventory. And then you're going to eat 9 food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then load your hard save again. Now, every time you're loading one of these hard saves, coming back from plateau, you need to be very careful not to do anything else but the given instructions. Don't press the D-pad, don't pause and unpause, or that kills the corruption. All you're going to do is... I didn't unequip the spear. Thank you. When I go through it slowly like this, it's easy for me to miss steps. Okay. So if you do screw up one of these things like that, so I'm actually going to show as an example here. I'm going to press the D-pad. That just killed the corruption. You can redo this step of loading into plateau and doing that. So we're going to do that. This is a good teaching example of how to recover from screwing something up a bit. So we're just going to load back into Great Plateau. Now, depending where or how you screw things up, sometimes it's not as easily recoverable, but... Okay, so we're loading this, and this time, when I get the spear, I'm going to unequip it, because that is very important. So get the spear, unequip it. Thank you, Methinker. And then eat 9 food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Doesn't matter which 9. And load that hard save. Okay, and then I'm not going to press the D-pad, not going to pause and pause, just shoot an arrow, save, and then we're going to load back into the plateau. Shoot the arrow, save, and this time we're reloading plateau. Okay, then we're going to do the same kind of cycle again, but this time only eating 8 food, and we don't need to go get the spear this time. Eight food. Load the hard save. And then we're going to shoot another arrow, immediately save, and then reload that hard save. Shoot the arrow, save, reload hard save. Okay, if all that went as it should have, then you should have 999 of the first 8 slots of your materials, which we do. That's good. We should also, by this point, have 30. Yeah, this is 30 stamina food. Let me quickly double check that that's right before I go any further. I think it is. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8. Yep. And then food count is 30. Okay, so we're all good so far. You're going to buy 1 fire arrow. It doesn't matter if you buy a 5-pack or you could buy them all if you want. The important thing is that we now have the fire arrow slot here in our inventory. Then sort your materials tab. So it'll look like this. And cycle the carrot. So just drop the carrot, pick it back up. Okay. Now, we're going to cook speed food. If it's raining, this cook pot won't be lit and you won't be able to light it. In that case, just skip the speed food. It's fine. And we will make up for it later. But since it's not raining, we're going to cook speed food. And the recipe is exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 lotus and 1 of these fangs. Either one, doesn't matter. Okay, that gives us a 1430 speed food. That's going to get duplicated once, and that's going to be enough speed food to get us through to the next IST stuff, which is where we're going to create our Omega Bow and get infinite speed food and some other things. We're almost done with the IST. Hard save after cooking the speed food, and we're going to load this plat autosave one last time. On this last iteration, we're going to be eating 1, 2, 3, 4 food. Don't eat the speed food, just eat the stamina food. Reload your hard save. And then, like always, when loading from Plateau to Kakariko, don't pause on pause, don't press the D-pad. Just shoot the arrow, save, reload. There we go. We are done with the first IST segment. Now, until we complete the part after Valmetto, it's important to not reload the game. If you screw up, you'll just have to deal with it, but don't reload, because reloading will mess with your inventory. That's how IST works, right? I'll just give you an overview of what the inventory looks like right now. We've got thousands of each of our arrows. Hey, Wild Dragon. So at this point, we want to eat one of our speed foods. Again, if you don't have a speed food because it rained, that's fine. We're going to cook a speed food at Bolson right away if that happens. So eat your speed food, and then we're going to go through a whole bunch of other stuff, getting Koroks and setting up quests, and getting a few more materials, until we get to Valmetto, where we're going to create the Omega Bow. So, from here I'll just kind of run through it and briefly describe what I'm doing. We're going to BLSS to Hateno. There's a nice step-up spot right here for that. And we're going to talk to Bolson. So now, if you had rain and you couldn't cook, you're going to cook at the cook pot at Bolson. And the recipe is going to need to be slightly different. If you're cooking here, use 3 Fleet Lotus seeds, 1 Dragon Fang, and 1 Rushroom. And use that recipe twice, using 1 of each Dragon Fang. So you want to keep 2 of each Dragon Fang. So use 1 Dinral and 1 Nadra. And then you'll have the 2 speed food that way. Oh, also, if you cook 2 speed foods here, make sure you eat 1 stamina food along with the speed food. That's just to keep the number of meals in your inventory the same as it would be otherwise. How far is still considered early game? I'm considering it up to WMC. Okay, so cook here if you have to. Also, if it's raining, just sleep morning or noon. No, sorry, not morning. You want noon. I believe. I can't remember if it matters. But sleep until it's not raining, because you're going to be doing the blue flame thing. Okay. I am going to skip a couple things. Like, I'll go to them, but I may skip actually doing them if they don't matter for the WMC, but of course, in an actual speedrun, you would do them. So talk to this guy, do his quest. I'm not going to do it because it doesn't matter, and I'm only going up to the first couple hours. But we'll just sort of speed through some of this extra stuff in the route. Okay, so from there, talk to this lady on the dock. Talk to this farmer guy. They're just going to give you quests. We're going to be grabbing more Koroks through this. Most of these Korok seeds we will spend at Hestu, but we're also going to be doing that that trick to drop them later as well. The extra ones that we get. Here, same inputs as when you were weapon smuggling for IST. To smuggle your weapon, and you want that to be a torch, because we're going to bring the blue flame up. And smuggling lets us wind bomb with a lit torch. This is why we don't want rain. Rain makes it impossible to do this. Okay, then we got to go through upgrading the Sheikah Slate. Because I'm doing Va Meadow and because I don't want slow bombs, I'm going to upgrade my bombs and my... well, I'll just upgrade everything. We can fast forward through it on the VOD, because it's just a bunch of mashing and waiting. Okay, we've upgraded our Sheikah Slate. I'm gonna run out here, grab these 2 apples. It is actually important that you grab these apples because we need to have a certain critical mass of materials in our inventory by the time we get to WMC. So, yeah, grab those apples. You'll also need them for Koroks later. Oh, you also need it to make the baked apple. I guess that's the most important thing. Fail a wind bomb. I think my circle was too late on that one. Oh yeah, one thing worth pointing out, at this point we do have essentially infinite fairies, so you don't need to worry about blowing yourself up with bombs or eating food for health or anything. Yeah, so stuff that's like general speedrunning tech that most other categories use, I'm not explaining. But I can link tutorials for those in the description of this video when it's on YouTube. But there's enough to explain without going through all that stuff. So yeah, this is sort of aimed at people who either have speedrun the game before or who are willing to learn those tricks from other videos. But yeah, I'll definitely make sure to link those. Okay, I am not going to upgrade all the houses here. I mean, upgrade all the... you know what I mean. I'm not going to fully upgrade the house. Because that's not necessary for getting to the point of the run that we're trying to get to. So I'll just send Hudson off to Akala here, and then we'll be on our way. But in a real run, you would fully upgrade the house. It takes like 8-10 minutes, something like that. It's very tedious. Fortunately, most of the run is not tedious in such ways. There's a lot of action in the run, with some small amounts of downtime like that. Okay, so now we're going to be going over to Baron. Oh yeah, this is a thing that often happens with this route, is you'll get a panic blood moon right around this Korok, sometimes a bit after it. I haven't found any way to deal with that yet. I have on my to-do list to maybe test doing the Miyamagana Shrine now. Because that should prevent us from getting the Panic Moon. The only thing is that would give us an extra Spirit Orb, which we would then have to eat, which is kind of a pain. So, I need to time like whether that's worth doing. But, I mean, either way, that'll be in a new version of the route if I do that. And it doesn't really make much of a difference. It's just, yeah, you get the Panic Moon right now. And you have to wait for the overworld to load again. No big deal though. It doesn't actually affect anything other than wasting your time. Okay, we're picking up a single hardy bass here. This is one of the items needed for upgrades at the end. In the previous route, we would have duplicated that during the IST session, but since we're getting it here now, we're going to duplicate it during WMC. So that'll go to 999 of those bass later. So don't eat it. Not that you would have any reason to eat it now because you have fairies. Okay. It's a good idea to grab some of these apples so you have more of them. If you accidentally grab that tree branch, make sure you drop it, because having an extra weapon would not be good for the second part of IST coming up. Okay. So the reason we're doing all these random Koroks around here is we're making our way over to Ferosh, because we want the horn for creating our 30-minute speed food later, which will then corrupt so that it's infinite. And we want the scale and the claw for upgrades. Those we won't duplicate using IST. We're going to duplicate them using a different trick called Transmutation, which I'm thinking I'll just make a quick guide for that at the end of this video. Hey, Tao. All right. So yeah, next few minutes are just going to be wind bombing around and grabbing Koroks. Not really too much to say about them. I guess if there's any tricks to them as we come across them, I'll mention. Whoops. A little rebound there. Missed. There we go. These lily pads can be a bit tricky. I usually can't land directly in them. I'll have to land like up here and then jump. Don't want to do a turn on that one. You'll probably be too low and hit the rock. Whoops, I missed it. There it is. These Koroks were all in different branches some way later in the route, in the previous route, but it makes some sense to do now. We also need to get enough Koroks to upgrade some of our inventory slots at Hestu. We need to have enough bow slots to pick up multi-shot bows for Transmutation later. Hey, Jivan. I hope this ends up being useful for people. I guess we'll see. Oh yeah, this Korok is very tricky. Here's how I do it. Pick it up, back up a couple paces so that it's on this like white surface here. And then stay sit, hit it once. If it's on that angle, like directly at the basketball thing, then that's good. Just hit it again and let it go. If it's like to the right or left, then you can like slightly adjust Link's position before you hit it a second time. And then it should go right in. Oops. There we go. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Keep meaning to practice. You know what? I'm just gonna write down which Korok is that? F12. I need to practice that Korok because I've like completely forgotten the path I'm supposed to take between them, and I end up like way above it. Okay, sorry. Good documentation is important. It's true. Theoretically, the route doc should have everything that I'm saying here, but I know it is, especially for complex things, often a lot easier to learn from like seeing somebody do it and talk through it than just reading a document. But yeah, all of this info is in the route doc as well. Which, if you want the link for it, I will put here again. I guess I'll also include it in the YouTube description, so then you don't have to copy it out of there. Okay, here we're setting a fire for Farosh. You want to sit morning each time, and we're going to get a scale, a horn, and a claw. What made me want to run Hundo? Near the beginning of the pandemic, I saw some streams of DJ Carmichael running it, and I thought, wow, that looks really fun. So then I decided to try it. Well, I tried a shorter category first, but eventually I got to Hundo. Okay, should actually set that, like, set the fire again immediately. It's a little better, because you're waiting for Farosh anyway, so just like set it and then, yeah, there we go. Okay, so scale is over there, horn. These parts will land either on that side or over here. There's kind of two landing spots. Why do I use my own route? It's more of a community effort to route it. But really every Hundo runner kind of like picks and chooses exactly how they want to run it. Of course, that one went back over there. Like most runners have at least small differences in how they run, but of course, when you're learning it from scratch at the start, you got to just start with an existing route and then, you know, learn what it's all about before you can start to make your own changes. There's the last piece. Doesn't it take long to rewrite everything? Yep, it does. But it's worth it, because, you know, anytime you're rewriting something, it's typically because it's faster, right? Okay, from here we're just gonna eventually wind bomb over to the Baron Tower. We're gonna do a couple more Koroks and we're gonna get bananas. Bananas is the main motivation for going this far into Farron. Otherwise we could just warp away from Farosh. Is Cellar hard to use? I mean, I don't think it's hard to use as a consumer of the route. It definitely takes some learning to be able to write stuff in it. But if you're good at reading documentation, then it is very well documented. Yeah, exactly what Tao said. Hard to write. Yeah, once you learn it, it's quite easy and convenient. But I guess there's a bit of a learning curve. If you've written code before, you'll find it very easy, because it's written in a very code-like syntax. Okay, so we grab that durian. We're going to use it for the next 2 Koroks, which are durian offerings, and then it's important to keep that durian. You'll need it for a quest, like, halfway through the run. Oh. That was a bad wind bomb. It's okay. We'll just do a mid-air to recover. There we go. I released my circle bomb too early there, which often causes the wind bomb to go like low and flat. Okay, so here's where we're getting the bananas from. We need bananas for some Koroks later in the run as well. And there's not many places to get bananas in this game, so it's one of the reasons to come to Pharaon early, besides Ferosh. Okay, and then we're going to do one more Korok, and we'll be out of here. Now at this point I should have 31 total Koroks. Now that's not 31 in my inventory because we have gotten rid of some. Wait, no, not 31, sorry. 27. Yeah. 31 at the end of the split. From here we're going to warp up to Kakariko. Pause buffers. Not sure what you mean. Yeah, 27 Koroks in the loading screen here. Do you mean like for super launches? That's, yeah, kind of just... Oh, yeah. The pauses aren't actually to reduce lag, they're to induce lag. Because that's how super launches work, is if you, like, pull the paraglider while the game is lagging. I have a pretty intuitive feel for like when they will work, but I mostly have it like kind of routed where I want to use them and where I don't. Or not really routed so much, but like I know where I want to use them and yeah. But that's something that's really up to individual runners. Except in a few cases where you like need a super launch to make a particular wind bomb like reach its location without having to do a mid-air or something. I don't know. There's not really any required super launches. In fact, Mr. Pancake Turtle ran Hundo and got like very top times before he ever even learned to super launch, which he does do now, but he proved that like you really don't need to. What am I doing? Okay, we talked to Impa and we're gonna go do this quest to unlock Hestu. So that's one that I actually could have super launched, but I'm like talking and playing at the same time, so I'm not fully... oh yeah, so this, if it wasn't raining, you can use the Force Dweller's bow and a bomb arrow, shoot it in between all of them and wait in bullet time, and that should kill them all. But you can't use bomb arrows while it's raining, so instead we can just Ancient Arrow all 3 of them. Frankenstein of a Hundo route. Yeah, I don't know. Would be interesting to see what it came up with. Hey, Maria. Thank you. Oh, no! If this was a real run, I'd be so mad right now. Yeah, Link sometimes just doesn't like to grab onto trees, no matter how nicely you ask him. And this is a particularly awful one to have that happen for. Especially if it's raining. You don't want to eat any of your stamina food yet. You need to have a specific number. I guess theoretically you could, but then you'd have to cook something else to make up for it. So I'm just gonna, I guess, hop off and we'll make our way up with the wind on. I probably should have done that from the start. It would have been faster than trying and failing to climb up this thing. Okay, try this again. There we go. I guess I could have landed a bit further up. Oh, whenever that speed food runs out, you can eat your second speed food. Yeah, slots are still broken at this point, Tao. So yeah, definitely don't reload. Like if you accidentally knocked that tree down, that would suck because you couldn't get the Korok and you couldn't reload to fix it. So I guess you'd have to wind bomb away far enough that it despawns so that when you come back it spawns back in. I don't know. But yeah, reloading will screw everything up. So do not reload while your slots are broken. Except, of course, where the route tells you to. Okay, at Hestu, we want to get 2 bow slots. And then we're going to, after getting these bow slots, we're going to go find Hestu somewhere else. And we're going to get 5 weapon slots. The slots you get are actually important because of the number of Korok seeds you'll end up spending on them. Just to make sure that you don't have too many. I mean, you could always drop more later, but it would be inconvenient. So it's also important that you get bow slots, at least a couple bow slots in particular, because we will need those to pick up multi-shot bows for transmutation. Okay, do a few extra Koroks while we're here. This is another very annoying one. It can be very easy to miss, but I got it. One thing we really like to do when routing the Koroks for this game is end branches on these lily pads. Because if you want to do a lily pad Korok and then go somewhere, you have to slowly swim out, and it's a real pain. Versus just warping away. Okay, so we're warping to Kaiwan here. So in places that we know we're going to warp anyway, at some point we try to end it in a lily pad, which I think we've done a really good job with for this route. There are no lily pads that we have to use the drown warp trick in anymore, because that was really slow. Alright, here we are at Kaiwan, and here's Hestu. We're going to talk to him again, get 5 weapon slots. So all in all, this is going to make it so that we have 10 Korok seeds remaining right before we enter Vaughn Meadow. And then we're going to do that same trick we did at Kakariko twice to drop those Korok seeds 5 at a time. For all the Zelda games I've played, I have played Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Wind Waker, most of Link's Awakening for the Switch, and like the first 20% or so of Ocarina of Time. Okay, that's our 5 weapon slots from Hestu. And then we're just going to do a few more Koroks before warping over. What's my favorite? Breath of the Wild. Though Tears is quite close. No, I actually liked Wind Waker quite a bit. It was very cool. Ocarina, I never really got into it, but I have a feeling if I tried it again someday, I would probably like it. But yeah, when I tried it, I just couldn't really get into it. I was playing the DS version. Which I don't know if that makes a difference or not, really. Yeah, whenever I eventually play it again, which it is on my list, I'm thinking I'll do Ship of Harkinian. Okay, so we're getting that location, and then finally over to the lily pads here. That mirror was not great, but it worked. Okay, then over to Moglatan, and we're getting close to WMC. WMC stands for Weapon Modifier Corruption, by the way. We're going to be corrupting the Great Eagle Bow to make it even greater, and we're also going to be corrupting the Hylian Shield to give it a slick property so that it surfs with very little friction. Oh, I guess technically we're not. Still. I use that step up for here, even though it's kind of inefficient because you have to go like around the mountain very awkwardly. There is a technically better step up spot by going to the right from or like in the opposite direction from where you warp in and using a tree. That'll give you a more direct line to the tower and also gives you enough height to land on the tower. But I just hate the step up from that stump, so I do it from here. And this gets you like almost high enough, so it's fine. This is a change from the previous route that is kind of independent from all the other changes. Getting up to Tabantha Tower from down below where all the Koroks are is just kind of awkward to do when we'd come by later to do all the Koroks. So doing it now, since we're kind of already zipping right by it on the way to Rito Village, kind of makes sense. Oops. Yeah, when you blast here, make sure to remember to blow up your bomb. Otherwise, you have to do it now. Okay. Yeah, I haven't actually played the 2D Zeldas, though I've watched a lot of them. Okay, so we need to talk to Kennelly and then Saki to unlock being able to do Va Meadow. Hey, there's Tulin. What are we at? 2.5 hours now? Yeah, so it'll probably be about 3 hours for the full thing. Kind of what I expected. Maybe a little longer. Because I'll probably like step through some of the inputs for a few things more slowly. Okay, go down to the shop, buy everything. We need to buy these all now so that we have enough materials to be able to do the prompt entanglement, which I'm not going to explain, but because I don't really understand it that well myself. I can try to explain actually when we do the next one, like a little bit of what's going on, but yeah. Don't buy the arrows though, because you literally can't, because you have too many. But yeah, buy all that stuff. So this should be what the inventory looks like after coming from Hiteno. We started with the fish at Hiteno, and then we got all this stuff. If you're missing any of this, well, depending on what you're missing, that might be bad. But hopefully you have all of it. Okay, from here, we're gonna go to the flight range. Thanks, Devon. Okay, we're getting one last Korok here. That should put us at 10 in the inventory. Okay, now, important thing here, if you're fast, you may actually get here before you have to eat your second speed food, especially if you got a critical cook on your speed foods, because then there would be 19 minutes instead of 14. Make sure you eat your last speed food now, and when you eat it, make sure you unpause and pause at least once before you go to the next step to drop the seeds. Otherwise, you'll crash the game probably, or stuff will be otherwise screwed up. Okay. Also, inventory check. You should have exactly 40 meals. That's 2 full tabs in your food tabs. If you don't, then go ahead and just cook something. I don't know, cook an opal. Like, just pad it out with some dubious foods. Because you should have exactly 40. Okay. So, we're going to drop 10 Korok seeds. The inputs for this are different from how it was done in Kakariko. I kind of have this in a shorthand in my running notes, but again, in the actual route document, the inputs are displayed a little more nicely. Okay, so we're going to be dropping 10 Korok seeds. And how this prompt entanglement thing works since I didn't really describe it before, is basically we are confusing the game into thinking the cursor is over something else, which gives us a different prompt than you would normally get. So normally when you try to select Korok seeds, there's nothing you can do with them, right? When you select a meal, you have eat, recipe, cancel. When you select materials, you have hold, maybe eat if it's an edible material. So we're going to be taking the prompt from 3 tabs over, 1, 2, 3. So we're actually taking the prompt from the scale is in this position. Something else maybe in this position for you. But whatever it is, it'll have a hold prompt. We're going to take this hold prompt, but have the game apply it to the Korok seeds. And that's how this works. So since we've still got our cursor glitch active from before, which you can tell by going to the load menu and seeing that there's no cursor until you press D-pad right, we're going to use that glitch to do that. So go to the first tab of your meals and the first slot, top left, first meal tab. Then there's 8 inputs that you have to do all within kind of a steady, fast rhythm, just like the one in Kakariko, not too fast, not too slow. So here's the inputs too slow. It's D-pad left, D-pad up, D-pad right, D-pad right, right stick left, D-pad right, right stick left, D-pad right. You want to do those 8 in pretty quick succession. It'll take a bit of practice to get that in your muscle memory, but it's not hard to do once you get it down. And yeah, those inputs are written out a little more nicely in the route doc, like I said. So here's doing them at speed. I'm gonna go like bup, bup, bup at the same rhythm as I'm pressing the buttons to give you an idea of how fast to press it. So it should be like bup, 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 bup. If you do it right, the cursor will be off the screen, somewhere between Link and the temperature gauge. So I'll do that again, but too fast, just to show you what happens, what it looks like if you do it too fast. So here's doing it way too fast. Bup, 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 bup. Wait, that actually worked? Huh. Okay, maybe you can go fast for this one. I didn't know that. I thought you had to go at the same rhythm as the others. Interesting. Okay, well, anyway. Yeah, about that speed is good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it puts the cursor there. Then, so you want to wait for like a second. And then tab in quick succession 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Don't wait in between those tabs, or you'll lose the cursor being off the screen. Just go 1, 2, 3. The cursor should, as before, be between Link and the temperature gauge. And you can actually see, if I move one over, like you can see the Sheikah slate is in that key items tab. You can just sort of see the edge of it. The cursor right now is actually over the Korok seeds, right? It's just to the right of that. So let me just get this again. 1, 2, 3. It's over the Korok seeds. So we press X to hold, and then A 5 times to hold them. There. We've dropped 5 of our 10 Korok seeds, so we're going to do it again. Start from the same position, and left, up, right, right. I can't actually say it out loud or I get confused, but do those inputs. 3 to the right, X, A. There we go. Our key items tab is now clean again. So we're going to save. The cursor is going to be weird here. Don't worry, just press the D-pad left and right a few times until you get the cursor back. So you're going to save and then reload that hard save. Now here's where we're going to cook the magic meal that is how you corrupt a weapon. I'm not going to go really into how that works because it's very confusing, but I'll have a video on it. I think the video covers WMC. So you need to, at this point, you should have, well, this many foods because that's what got duplicated. So you need to eat 2 of them. And then hold carrot and an apple. You're going to put those on the ground, shoot with a fire arrow, and pick up the carrot first. Very important to pick up the carrot first. Once it's roasted, that is. So, roasted carrot, baked apple. Should look like that, and the carrot should be in the 5th column. It's important that it's in the 5th column because we're going to use prompt entanglement to hold that carrot. So normally, you can only eat meals, you can't hold them, right? Now, if you try to hold one of these cooked meals, the game will actually crash because they don't have a 3D model. So it's very important that you don't try to hold one of those. That's why I'm stressing that the roasted carrot should be in the 5th column here. Okay, so to hold the roasted carrot, this is actually the same inputs we used to hold the Korok seeds in Kakariko. So starting from your meals, page 1, the first meals tab, you're going to go to this slot. That's row 3, column 5. And do those inputs. So that's R stick left, D-pad up, R stick right, D-pad left. Up, 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 up. The cursor's off the screen. That's good. So then you just tab 1 to the right. The cursor should be over Link's Sheikah slate on his model, not the Sheikah slate in the inventory. And you will just press X and A to hold it. Then unpause, so just press B, pause again, and hold, in addition, 3 fairies and 1 silent princess. This is the recipe for the magic meal that turns the Great Eagle Bow into the Omega Great Eagle Bow. So go to the cook pot and cook that. There it is. Doesn't look special, but it is special. What's specifically special about it, if you're curious, is if you went to sell it, it has an odd selling price, like numerically odd. And that is what's required to get an attack up buff, I think, on a weapon. How odd? Numerically. I forget the exact price. I think it's like 155 or something. Maybe 145. Anyway. Okay, so once you have cooked that special meal, you're going to save and reload again. And when I say reload, I mean reload the hard save that you just created. Okay. At this point, you should have 4 meal tabs, which is normally impossible. And the 4th meal tab should contain just this baked apple. What we've done is we've taken the special meal that we cooked and encoded its data onto the baked apple because it is at the end of the inventory, and I forget exactly how that all works, but just that's what happened. So that's good. We want to eat 2 stamina foods. Any 2, you can just pick them from anywhere in the list. Doesn't matter. Eat 2 of them. So now we are back to a normal 3 tabs. And we're going to do Vomito. That is a very special baked apple. Exactly, Sean. Is it possible to get an odd number without holding stuff that's not meant to be held? I think no. I think that's why you have to go through this whole rigmarole of holding a not normally holdable item. Though I don't know if there is some weird method to do it in some other way, so don't quote me on that. But I believe that is correct. Okay, so I don't really have any notes for doing Va Meadow. It's sort of assumed that most people... Oh, one more. Most people would learn how to do the Divine Beasts from running some other category, but I'll commentate my way through Meadow, just in case you haven't done it. I won't be doing the other Divine Beasts, but you can learn them from other tutorials. Yeah, anything that's normally created in a cook pot doesn't have a model and will crash, but things that are roasted by just like shooting a fire arrow on them, those do have a 3D model. Right? Like you can't take a simmered fruit or whatever out of your inventory and put it on the ground. There's no model for it. Spirit Orb, funny enough, also doesn't have a 3D model, at least for the item. Obviously there's something that it shows you in the cutscene when you get one, but if you try to hold a Spirit Orb, the game will crash. So in a previous version of this route, where we were actually having a Spirit Orb at this point and we had to get rid of it, we would do a different setup to eat it instead of holding it. But you can only eat things one at a time, so that's why we don't eat the Korok seeds. It's faster to hold them. Oh, I missed. Oh my god. Keep missing. I'm usually better at this shot. Seriously? Am I not? Yeah, something's odd here. My usual lineup for this shot is not working. Let's try like that. Okay.
We did it.
I was talking while I set this up, so maybe I don't know what I did wrong. Whatever, we got it. Sounds about right, Obsigoblin. The route dock has visual cues for those shots, by the way, so rely on those and ignore the fact that I just missed one of them like 3 times in a row.
Well now, I had a you're here to... If so... That guided.
So, I mean, most of what I'm doing here is pretty self-explanatory movement, but here I'm going to do an ESC. Oh, I had skew there. I actually need to just write that down. Skew in Meadow. I think I still have skew from Teloneg and I'm not clearing it. So, should make sure you clear your skew from Teloneg at some point. And then you can get skew by neutral shield jumping on that slope. Of course, if you don't want to do the ESC, you don't have to. You can just go around. But it is faster. So if you want to go around, you just go through that window and then back in through that one. But ESC through here. Ah. Get the frame. There we go. That should work. Yeah. That was something that happens with ESCs sometime, where you do it right, but Link's body doesn't clip in, but his soul does. So then a few seconds later, the game catches up and puts the body with the soul on the other side of the wall. Normally an ESC doesn't look like that.
There are two?
Oh, right, I forgot to... Wait, did I forget? I can't remember. If I cleared Ragdoll there. Okay, so from there, we're just going to mid-air over to the next one. There's also a BLSS you can do to get over here, but I'm not a fan of it. What's his soul? Good question. Without delving too much into it, basically Link has coordinates that track where his body is, like the in-game rendering of like where he is, and then he has separate coordinates for something we call his soul, which like tracks other properties of Link for the purposes of, I think, like tracking his location for saves and also for collision. Yeah. We call those two things body and soul for some reason, and they exist. It's basically all I know. Okay, for this terminal, there's a cool strat that I only recently learned. Stasis this guy through here. Grab his terminal.
Just
Oh, there. Open that. Swing at this once, and then shoot this. Right as the last beep of the stasis goes off. And then that happens. That probably wasn't explained very well, but basically the cue is you want to, yeah, shoot the bomb arrow at that,
I want you to flap to
at this flappy thing on the last beep of stasis. Okay, one cycle for Windblight.
His aim is dead on. Watch yourself.
You want to switch to Forest Dweller's Bow, Ancient Arrow. Stasis him, then shoot him once in the body and 4 times in the head. And that will, oops, be on stasis. Oh my god. It's so hard to do things when you have to explain them at the same time. Okay, pretend that didn't happen. Oh, stasis is back, yeah. Yeah, he's gonna make another tornado, and then I can't shoot him. Okay, third tries the charm. Stasis him. In bullet time. Once in the body, 4 times in the head. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I missed with one of the arrows. Normally that would skip his phase too. Of course, he was so far away at that point I couldn't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure just one of the arrows missed. How much time does new load save? Don't have an exact answer for that, but I'm pretty sure it's faster. It's just like maybe on the order of a few minutes? I don't know. Don't have enough data yet. Okay, very important for the IST setup at this point, or, I mean, sorry, the WMC setup. You don't have to do this exactly right now, but it's a good idea to now. But at some point, you need to unequip your bow and also switch to normal arrows. I like to just do that right now so that I don't forget. And now we're going to create the OmeGEB. Why did Nintendo add a model to the Cork Seeds? I have no idea. It seems weird that they would have one, especially that it would be a palm fruit. I'm guessing it was just like for testing or something, and then they left it in. But Yeah, I couldn't tell you why. You want to catch this Cold Darner. That's for a quest later. Doesn't really matter for the WMC, but since you spawn in right next to one, it's a good opportunity to grab one. Okay, so then we're going to go get the Great Eagle Bow, and we're going to get an autosave from opening that chest. Opening chests gives you an autosave. And that autosave is going to be used at the end of this whole setup to reload back into. So just a note that that autosave is important. I don't know why my... Okay, so there. See, we got that autosave. That one's important. So now we're going to do the WMC setup, and hopefully I will get this first try, because it's going to be a real pain to try and reset all this if I don't. Alright, so we got the Great Eagle Bow, we got our autosave. Glide down here, take this potlet. Then you're going to cook a 30-minute speed food. If you don't have at least 4 lotus seeds, which you might not based on how the cooking goes, you might have only 3, then you can substitute one with a rushroom. But hold at least 3 lotus seeds. I'll do 4 since I have enough. And the Farash horn. Now don't worry that this is your only Farash horn. We're going to reload that autosave from before after this is all done to get all of our stuff back. Okay, so we've got our hasty simmered fruit. And at this point, if you've done everything right, that should be in the 60th or final slot of your meals inventory. That's the last slot of the 3rd tab. Okay, now we're going to do something weird. See this Sheikah slate? We're going to eat it. The reason we need to do that is complex, but basically well, it's not that complex. Basically, we need fewer items in our key items so that our 13 broken slots can reach far enough to do all the things we need them to do. So we're going to eat that. Here's the inputs to do so. It's just like with holding the Korok seeds and all that, but just slightly different inputs. So go to meals page 2 on the first slot, row 1, column 1. Why don't we eat the Rivali's Gale? We actually tried to do that, and it didn't work for some reason. I can't remember what the exact reason was. I think it like comes back if you reload or something. I don't know. Anyway, go to Meals, tab 2. Why am I just explained it. Meals, tab 2, row 1, column 1. The inputs are D-pad left, D-pad up, R-stick left, R-stick... Sorry, let me start that again. I misspoke. D-pad left, D-pad up, R-stick left, D-pad right, R-stick left, D-pad right. Okay. So I'm going to do that fast now, so it'll actually work. So you want to do it with that rhythm, and if you do it right, then your cursor should be over one of these stamina foods that's like just slightly off the page. I'll do that once more. That's kind of the... Oh. I started on the wrong... That was bad. I started on the wrong tab. Don't do that. Start on meals page 2. Yes, thank you, Sean. I actually caught that. But, yeah, I probably wouldn't have caught that in a run and then, like, crashed my game or something. And that would have sucked. Meals page 2. First slot. Okay, so we're over the stamina thing. Then, just like before, we're going to use the right stick to tab 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Do that, like, fairly quickly. 1, 2, 3. And then you just eat the Sheikah slate. Yum, yum. There we go. It's gone. Don't worry. We'll get the Sheikah Slate back. It will be in our inventory when we reload into the autosave. Okay. After that, all the inputs are easy. We need to sell off or drop practically our entire inventory. So all the items here that we have a lot of, we're just going to sell, because it would take literally forever to drop them. And then the ones that we have like 1 or 2 of, we'll just drop, because that's faster than selling. But be very careful here. Do not get rid of the hardy bass, that's the bluefish, or the Pharos scale. We need to keep those. But we're going to get rid of everything else. At least all of the other material items. I usually sell everything that's like 5 or more, and then drop the rest. So we're just going to drop everything on the ground. It'll start despawning once there's more than 10 items on the ground, but that's fine. Don't drop the fish. Don't drop the scale. Keep those. Okay. Once you've done that, we're going to eat all our meals, except for the last 2. Keep the baked apple and the speed food, but eat all the rest. You think Link has some impressive chompers? Just watch this. I don't know what's more impressive, actually, eating like 60 mushroom skewers or 1 Sheikah Slate. At least eating them this fast. Oops, I selected the recipe. Okay, there we go. Only those 2 left. Then, take your torch, toss it away. We don't need it. Then I would walk out here just so you don't get your items mixed with those. Drop your Forest Dweller's bow and your Falcon bow. Just on the ground there. Then, and be very careful here because the order that you pick stuff up after this matters. Drop your Claymore, your pot lid, and the fish and the scale. Now, pick these up in exactly this order. Claymore first, then the fish, then the scale, then the pot lid. Then save your game. Okay, then you're going to pick up the bows. Order of the bows doesn't matter. Then you're going to drop the fish in the scale. Eat both of these meals. And reload your hard save. Now, just like with the stuff at Kakariko, make sure you don't press your D-pad or pause on pause. Just do exactly this. Shoot the arrow, and then save. Okay, now you can do stuff, but just don't do anything until you shoot the arrow, save. Now, we're going to notice that we have 2 Great Eagle bows, and they're both equipped. We're going to unequip the second one. You're going to equip Ancient Arrows. Notice how you now have 2 pot lids. You're going to equip the second one, and that's going to unequip these. Drop the fish in the scale. Eat, this time only the speed food. And reload that hard save. Okay, now same thing applies here. Don't do anything except for shoot the arrow and save. Don't press the D-pad. Don't unpause. Just shoot arrow and save. Shoot. Save. Okay, now you can do stuff. You have 4 shields in your inventory. Drop the last 2. So this one and this one. Eat the fish. Reload the hard save. I know, this is very intense, because if you screw up any of these things, something will not work. Probably the entire thing will not work. That's how it is. Okay, last step. We're going to unequip our claymore. Unequip the... This is your Omega bow. It's created. See, notice it's got like way more power. So unequip that. Not drop, just unequip. And then drop this last bow. Now, side note, if you're running this for the first time and you're like not sure about your bow durability, you can instead unequip this third one and drop the first one. If you do that, then you'll have an extra Great Eagle bow. Not super powered, but it will have 800 durability, so you like for sure won't run out of bows. So that's the alternative to this step if you want to do that. But the faster way to do it, and the way that I do it, is you just unequip your Omega bow and drop this last one. Okay, then your shields, in order of first to last. Drop it, unequip it, drop it. You've got 2 scales here. Cycle them so that they're together in the same slot. Like that. Eat just the first 2 meals here. And now reload not your hard save, but reload that autosave that you got after getting the Great Eagle bow. So that should look something like this. You can see the owl there, or maybe if you went fast, you're like already gliding down to the cook pot in this thumbnail. But you're gonna load that one. Okay, if everything went right, then we should be good. Here's how we can check. For the run, you're going to want to equip this claymore. This claymore now has 800 durability. Don't accidentally throw it away, because you can just use it for the entire run now for chopping down trees and hitting stasis objects and everything. It'll never break. I think I checked my durability after a practice run, and it still had like 600 at the end, so like it'll never break. This is your Omega bow. It is powerful enough to kill almost any enemy in one hit, other than like Black Hinoxes, where it takes 2. Unless you hit it in the eye, then it's 1 shot. So you'll want to equip that, and it also has 800 durability, so it should last for the entire run. If you're a newer runner and less accurate with your shots, you don't know where all the balloon Koroks are, and you take lots of extra shots, it might break early. I gave that tip about how to create a second 800 durability bow before, so you can do that if you want, but yeah, this should last most of the run. And you also want to equip this shield. This one is now slick, so if you surf on it, well, that wasn't a great example. If you surf on it, it's like very slippery and you can just keep going. Compare that to a normal shield, which like doesn't let you surf at all on this kind of texture, right? You can see how it works better on grass, but play around with it yourself. Anyway, it says attack up, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is the hidden slick modifier, which doesn't show up here. Okay, another couple things. Speed food. This stack is now 999. It says ×1, but the game is wrong. It just doesn't know how to deal with those stacks. So you can just keep eating this, and you'll always have a 30-minute speed food up. At this point, you can also, or at this point, you should eat one stamina food, because that will just create an empty slot for when you cook something later. And throughout the run, you can eat as many of these stamina foods as you want now. What else? Oh, I will go up to... Oops. I will just play through the route for a couple more minutes, because we're going to get to the point where we're going to get rid of our broken slots. So at this point, you still have the 13 broken slots, and that means if you reload, you will duplicate whatever Koroks you have, and that could be bad as far as completing the run goes, because then, depending on... Oh, I'm trying to think, actually. I don't know. I wouldn't risk it. If you have duplicated Korok slots and you're dealing with Hestu, you may not be able to upgrade all your slots, which would make it so that you can't finish the run at the end. So it's only a couple minutes to the point at which we'll get rid of the broken slots, so I'll just play up till that. Talk to her to start the quest for later. There we go. Head over to this shrine. I'll just skip doing the shrine, because it doesn't really matter at this point, but you would go do this shrine, come back out. Oh, I can show off the OmeGEB actually working here, because we're going to kill a Talus. So there's the Talus, and there it's dead. That is why we go through all this hassle to create the bow. Okay, go up to this rock, and I screwed this up actually in my PB, so if you watch that at all, just ignore what I do next here, because I go over to the lily pads early. I just kind of had a brain fart and forgot there's an extra Korok here. Oh, I should advance the notes. There we go. Yeah, I just forgot to do this Korok first. I'll never make that mistake again, I hope. Oh yeah, so a bit more about this bow, I guess, because we haven't really shown it off. It shoots at long range, unlike the previous Omega bow, the Traveler bow, which had a very poor range. So it shoots really far. It shoots 6 arrows, and each arrow has 148 power, plus whatever the arrow itself gives. So like ancient arrows are a little more powerful too. And yeah, it shoots like quite a tight spread, so you can snipe Taluses and Hinoxes from pretty far away. It's quite nice. Anyway, from here, Here's where we're about to fix our broken slots. We're gonna just do this lily pad Korok, and the reason we routed this in like this is if you wind bomb from up there, we get the Korok. We're also gonna get a Volpfin Trout. But then we're like kind of stranded way down in the water here with no good objectives nearby. So what we're gonna do is hard save. And now we close the game. Closing the game gets rid of your broken slots. So the IST glitch is no longer active. You can now finally reload whenever you like. And then you just follow the route for the rest of the run. Get all the Koroks, get all the shrines, all the mini bosses and the quests, and that's the run. I'll go over one last time all the things that IST gave us that you should have. So you've got 999 of these hardy bass. That's needed for upgrades. Pharos scale for upgrades. You've also got a singleton Pharos scale besides the two here. When you get to the Spring of Courage, you want to use the singleton, not one from these piles, or then you won't be able to like offer them as upgrades. We've got acorns, honey, bugs, opals, mushrooms for a quest, princess, all of those other things are for upgrades. You've got 8 horns. You actually need 9, but IST only gives us 8. There's a part marked in the route where you'll get a 9th, but I mean, you can just get it from any Lizalfos. Wood is needed for Terrytown. These couple ancient cores for a quest or something. And yeah, that's what IST gives us. And then of course we've got all the stamina food, infinite speed food, slick shield, Omega Bow, all the arrows you could ever need, and essentially infinitely durable Claymore. Easy. Yeah. It's not that bad with practice. If you just kind of go slowly, make sure you read every line, make sure you don't miss any inputs, then it's not like too technically challenging. The technically challenging part is, I guess, doing it all fast, right? But, you know, anybody can just go through these steps and make all these weapons and materials on their own. And hopefully this guide will make it easier to do so. Okay, so that's the end of this commentated guide. I'm not going to go through the rest of the route because my voice is already dying. But, yeah, I mean, you can just watch, I guess, my PB, which isn't currently on SRC, but it will be as soon as it's verified. You can find it on my YouTube channel in any case. It's the one that's a 1528 in the title is on this route. So yeah, you can watch that to see the rest of the route, but the route doc should be good enough on its own, really, to get through that. What else? Oh, I wanted to go through Transmutation, actually. So I'll do that, and then I can link just to this part of the VOD for how to do that. So this should only take like 10 minutes to explain. So I'm just going to load a practice save that is from like the last couple hours of the run now, because we do Transmutation quite late in the run. What is that, Vacnaroki? Yeah. No, the alphabet. There it is. Okay. I have written instructions for these already in the route doc, so this will just be a video supplement to that. There we are. Oh shoot, that's gonna... Ah, crap. Messed up. Okay, let's fix this. There we go, okay. So, at this point in the run, you have just completed all the Kakariko quests, and now we're waiting for Dorian to make his way over to Lakanaro Key. In the meantime, we can do a bunch of Koroks to kill the time, as well as Transmutation. So this guide will be on how to do Transmutation. At this point, if you've been following the route correctly, you should have peppers, lotus seeds, at least 4 bananas, shrooms, all these mushrooms left over, and at least 4 nightshades. And you should have a couple eggs, some diamonds that you'll have gotten from quests, and a whole pile of springs. That's what we're using for Transmutation. You can substitute other stuff just fine, and I'll briefly describe how to do that in case you're missing any of those items. But right now, I'll go ahead assuming that you have all of the items that the route instructed you to pick up. So right after talking to Impa and Paya, you would set a fire here until 9 p.m. That's just to make the timing for Dorian better. If you're new to Hundo, you probably don't want to set a fire here. Just leave it at 7 p.m. is when it would normally be. That gives you a bit of extra time to get to the shrine. Okay, so you would set night. I'm not actually going to do the Koroks because that doesn't matter here, but you would go do that Korok, do this Korok with the apples, and then we're going to go over to this shopkeeper, the same one that we did IST with at the beginning of the run. You should have completed your quest, so we'll just turn that in first. She's very happy. That's good. Okay. So we're going to do menu overloading using multi-shot bows. Oh, I guess that's the other thing. It's important that you have at least 6 multi-shot bows at this point. If you don't, for whatever reason, you can go get some extra duplex bows near the Yiga hideout. Specifically, that like path leading up to it has a whole bunch of Yigas that spawn. So go get some there if you don't have them, but you should have some. You want to equip shock arrows and one of your 6 multi-shot bows. I have 7 bows here. The falcon bow is not multi-shot, so I only have 6 multi-shot. Now, to overload... Oh, actually, sorry. Before you overload the menu, it's actually important that you do this first. So put a pin in that. Okay, go to your materials, sort them. It is actually important that you sort your materials so that the scrap that you're going to be selling is in the right order. So sort your materials. You're going to take the 3 dragon horns that you have. You should only have 1 of each. And put them in a pile. And then the other 6 dragon parts that you have 1 of, you're going to put in another pile. The purpose of this, by the way, is to duplicate dragon parts so that we have enough for upgrades at the end. For upgrades, you need 4 of each dragon horn and 2 of each other dragon part. So some, like these Nader fangs we already have enough of, so we're not going to deal with those. We're going to deal with 6 parts besides those horns. So Nader scale, Nader claw, Ferosh fang, Ferosh claw. We're making a pile of 6 here. Dinral claw and Dinral scale. Okay, so we should have 9 dragon parts on the ground here, and the horns should be like in their own separate pile. Okay, now we're going to do overload, menu overload. So to overload the menu, take out your multi-shot bow with shock arrow equipped and just hold it out like this. It may help to keep the camera pointed like up so that you can see the whole shop. And then go to your bows menu, and you're going to do this repeatedly. You're going to drop the bow you have equipped, equip a different multi-shot bow, and then you're going to unpause pause. You don't want to unpause pause too quickly or too slowly. The timing I use is watch the bow fall from Link, and when it hits the ground, pause again. So it's pretty quick. It's like this. Unpause, pause. Drop the bow, equip another, unpause, pause. Drop the bow, equip another, unpause, pause. Drop the bow, equip another, unpause, pause. Drop the bow, equip another. This is the 6th one. At this point, if everything goes right, Link should mostly disappear. Unpause, pause. There we go. We see only his little Bobby Hill head and nothing else. He may disappear in a different way. For example, maybe just all his clothes will disappear, or maybe he'll completely disappear entirely, even his head. It usually looks like this for me, but results may vary. What's important is if you try to hold an item, that item does not show up over Link. If the item does not show up, then you have overloaded correctly. If it does show up, then pick up all your bows and try it again. Okay. So now the transmutation part. Once you've overloaded, you want to hold 1 pepper, 1 lotus, 3 bananas. Now, when you unpause, you're going to see that Link isn't holding anything. Don't worry, he actually is holding it. This is just the menu overloading, like confusing the game. So you're going to go over, talk to the lady, and you're going to sell the rest of those items. So that's peppers, lotus, banana. Okay, once you've sold those, now Link is still actually holding the items, even though it doesn't look like he is. So we're going to trick the game into duplicating our dragon parts by picking up some dragon parts in a specific order, and the game is going to then basically take what we were holding and apply those numbers to the dragon parts that we pick up. So pick up first a horn, it can be any horn, and then any 2 of the other pile. Okay. So now if you look at the end of our inventory, here's these 3 dragon parts that we've picked up, and it actually says Link is still holding 5 items. So press X to stop holding, and look what happens. The dragon parts are... It basically takes the items he was holding and like assumes they were those dragon parts. So now we've got 4, 2, and 2. That's good. We need 4 of each horn and 2 of the other ones. Now hold out your shock arrow again, like that, and pause, and then Link should be fully overloaded again. And then we're going to do the same thing, but with different items. So then this time we have 1 regular Hylian shroom, 1 rush room, 1, 2, 3 nightshade. Sell them. Then pick up any horn, and then any 2 of the others. There they are. stop holding, press X, and they are duplicated. Notice the claymore is showing on Link over to the side. That's because I forgot, again, to pull out my shock arrows first. Normally, you should pull out the shock arrows before unpausing there, and then you'll be fully overloaded, and then you can just hold them again right away. Okay. For the third round, hold an egg, hold a diamond, hold 3 springs. Oops.
Oh.
Sell. That. I'm selling the wrong thing. Okay, sell the egg. Sell the diamonds.
Ma.
Sell the springs.
Ma.
Pick up the horn first, and then the other 2. I guess it doesn't matter if you overload here, but if you wanted to stay overloaded, you would pull out the shock arrows, unhold, there they are. So at the end of this, you should have 4 of each horn, and then 2 of each of these other dragon parts. And then the other dragon parts that you've gotten earlier in the route, you already have at least 2 of, so you're good. You can sort and then check that you've got all your dragon parts. Now, let's say, suppose you screw something up, you use the wrong items, or you pick stuff up in the wrong order, and you need to get more of a part. Let's use these sugars, for example. Let's say we needed 4 of the sugar, but we only have 2. The simple way to just make more of those is find any other item that you don't need anymore. So for example, we wouldn't need luminous stones anymore at this point in the run. So you can, what you need to do first is whatever item you're trying to duplicate, you need to put on the ground, and you need to put all of them on the ground from your inventory. Now this is a bit of a problem. I can't hold them because I'm overloaded, so I might have to just pick up my bows. There, now I'm not overloaded. So put them all on the ground, however many you have. Then we will overload again. And then, so the number of items that you'll get is going to be equal to however many you are holding here. So, for example, if I hold 2 luminous stones and then sell the rest, that's going to give me 2 extra sugars in this case. So if you needed more than 2 more, then you'd have to use an item that you have more of. So I held 2 luminous stones, sell the remainder, pick up all of the item that I need to duplicate. There it is in the end of my inventory. Now if I unhold, the 2 luminous stones I was holding are transmuted into sugar. So that's how that works. Hopefully you won't need to do the extra little bit at the end there as a backup, but you know, if you get not enough horns, then that's something you might have to do. Okay, I think that covers transmutation. So I guess that'll be it. My voice is kind of dead, so I hope this was educational. And yeah, I'll get this edited in the next little while and put it up on YouTube. Until then, I guess it'll be available as a VOD on Twitch. Okay, that's it.